by the Afghans with our advising, train, advise, assist, mentoring, and for right now, air support certainly provided by NATO. So each area, victory looks differently, but the bottom line is we're going to make it so that the world is not subject to the kind of terror attacks you saw recently in Barcelona, a place like this. It's going to be long-term. It's going to have an educational component. It's got a lot of things going on in the Middle East as far as reducing the lure of this sort of terrorism, this sort of murder that we see going on. But in each area, we're trying to construct local solutions, working by, with, and through allies. Sometimes that'll be supporting, for example, the brilliantly led French campaign in the Sahel, where airmen are providing surveillance support, refueling support, this sort of thing. We've got some forces on the ground, but the French are maintaining upwards of 4,000 troops. We probably have around 20,000 African troops. And there in the Lake Chad, north of the Lake Chad Basin, you see that kind of a fight going on. Again, by, with, and through allies, which is why that second line of effort is so important.
This is a question I'm sure you didn't anticipate. What's your take on North Korea, and what can we do about it?
Well, obviously, North Korea has been a problem. It goes back to the days we worked together. You recall under Dr. Perry and Senator Cohen, our secretaries of defense in those days. The international community is aligned on this. How many times have you seen China, Russia, France, the United States, I can go on, United Kingdom, all voting in a unified position in the UN Security Council? That gives you an idea of the degree of international concern and the alignment of the international interests to stop the provocations, to stop the nuclear program there in North Korea. It is still a diplomatically led effort. It is one that is fully supported by the Department of Defense in terms of ensuring that the military options exist. And for right now, you see it as a primary effort up at the United Nations General Assembly meetings that are going on this week in New York. We continue to press on the diplomatic level, and that includes economic sanctions, of course. But at this time, we must also recognize the somber reality that military options must be available in order to protect our allies and ourselves.
Perhaps a somewhat easier question. What's your take on the current state of jointness? And if it's not good, what do we need to do to improve jointness?
You know, one of the challenges we face, ladies and gentlemen, is when we solve problems, we can sometimes forget that there was a problem we solved, and as we move forward, we leave the lessons behind. I think the most important thing on jointness is that we make certain that young officers, probably in their mid-careers, have sufficient time in joint staffs that they learn how they bring their capability. And I want no misunderstanding. I want young NCOs and young officers sharpening their core competency in each of their services. But by mid-grades, NCOs and officers, they need to have exposure and involvement in a joint way to ensure that we put together on any battlefield swiftly what is needed in that specific war in order to win. My concern